Each day, Canada's aviation industry relies on pilots and air traffic services professionals to move thousands of aircraft and their passengers safely to their destinations. These professionals must maintain a common understanding of where aircraft will be and what airspace will be protected. It's demanding work in a challenging environment where clear and effective communications are critical. Yet errors are more common than you think. In fact, studies and regular monitoring have noted a pattern of recurring communication errors by pilots and air traffic services professionals. Non-standard phraseology, giving incorrect, partial or incomplete readbacks, and omitting or confusing call signs are some examples of typical errors. Most of these communication errors are minor. Only a few cause serious problems. But each time one goes unnoticed or unchallenged, it makes future errors more likely, and it increases the risk of serious consequences. Communication errors have contributed to loss of separation incidents and runway incursions, as well as approach and landing accidents. Direct air traffic services to pilot communication provides a critical safety link in the air traffic services system. To preserve this link, significant defenses have been built into aviation communications to prevent errors or detect them before they can cause a serious problem. These defenses include standard phraseology and required readbacks of IFR clearances. Yet these defenses are sometimes forgotten or skipped over in a busy environment, or when there are distractions. How can we strengthen the defenses against communication errors? By bringing attention to the shortcuts that are often taken in pilot air traffic services communications. We want to reinforce the importance of using standard communication practices and make sure that everyone in aviation understands how much safety depends on effective communication. The following scenarios are based on actual events. The people you will see are volunteers and were not involved in the incidents. The air traffic services pilot exchanges are real and based on transcripts of recorded exchanges. Aircraft call signs and locations have been changed.
Transair 9291, contact Vancouver Center on 132.35.
Transair 9291, switching 3235, see ya. Vancouver Center is Transair 9291, we're at flight level 320.
Transair 9291, Vancouver Center, roger.
Vancouver Center, good morning. Transair 9921 with you, flight level 360.
Transair 9921, Vancouver Center, roger.
The controller is handling two aircraft from the same company with similar call signs. He's expecting the pilot he just spoke with to request a descent soon. But instead, it is the other pilot who is about to ask for a flight level change.
Vancouver Center, Transair 9291, any chance of flight level 340?
Transair 9921, maintain flight level 340.
Confirm flight level 340. Confirmed.
The controller has just given clearance to flight level 340 to the wrong aircraft. Now listen to the readback.
Up to 340, yeah, we're just riding the tops here and indicating slight turbulence.
Roger.
Multiple layers of defense were breached in this incident. First, there were similar call signs on the same frequency. This potential hazard was not identified, and no advisory was issued to the aircraft. Second, neither flight crew noted the error in the flight number given by the controller. Next, the pilot did not include his call sign in the readback, so there was no opportunity for the controller to note the mistake. Finally, the controller did not challenge the pilot's non-standard communications or clarify which aircraft was giving the readback. Fortunately, the controller noticed the difference between the radar and the flight progress strip and corrected the problem.
Transair 9291, confirm your altitude.
This situation was not complex or immediately dangerous, but it could have been with other traffic between flight levels 320 and 340. This common error is being addressed in Canada through a change in standard phraseology. Now controllers will no longer use the word maintain when issuing altitude changes. Instead, they will specify either climb or descend in the clearance. This new phraseology will add an extra layer of defense. For example, a pilot cleared to climb to an altitude that he or she is already above is more likely to question that clearance. The safety benefit is clear. By using the new phraseology, pilots and controllers can reduce the chances that aircraft will take clearances meant for others. Two aircraft are taxiing for takeoff. A passenger jet aircraft, call sign Air Canada 123, has been given taxi instructions by the ground controller for a departure from the threshold of the runway. After a handoff to the tower controller, it is holding short of the runway. The second aircraft, a Cessna 182 with call sign Charlie Foxtrot Foxtrot Zulu Quebec, has also been given taxi instructions for an intersection departure on the same runway.
Foxtrot Zulu Quebec, continue on Charlie. We'll get you going right away. Foxtrot Zulu Quebec, contact tower on 118.8 now.
Fox Zulu Quebec, switching to tower now.
Air Canada 123, line up and wait 32.
To position on hold, Air Canada 123.
The aircraft at the threshold starts to receive a takeoff clearance, just as the Cessna is switched to the tower controller's frequency. This is where the confusion starts, when the pilots in the Cessna respond to a clearance meant for the other aircraft.
The wind is 330 at 6, clear for takeoff, runway 32.
Wow, that was quick. Fox Zulu Quebec, cleared for takeoff, runway 32.
Air Canada 123, takeoff clearance is cancelled, all your position.
We're holding Air Canada 123.
Foxtrot Zulu Quebec, you are not clear for takeoff. You can continue now, left turn out.
Fox Zulu Quebec, aborting takeoff. We'll pull it off at the next taxiway. Sorry about that. We thought that clearance was for us.
Let's review the factors that contributed to this situation. The ground controller told the crew to anticipate an immediate departure, so they were expecting a takeoff clearance. The takeoff clearance came just as the aircraft switched to tower frequency, so the pilot missed the incorrect call sign. Distractions in the cockpit led the pilots to accept a clearance for another aircraft. The Cessna pilots were surprised that they were cleared for takeoff right away, but in their haste to depart, they did not question the clearance. The tower controller did not recognize that two aircraft had transmitted simultaneously, or that the wrong aircraft had acknowledged the clearance. When a squeal is heard on a frequency, pilots should be aware that this telltale sign means two aircraft are transmitting simultaneously and may not always be heard by air traffic services. The use of intersection departures can provide significant opportunity for confusion, leading to this type of occurrence. Pilots should be aware that controllers are required to state the intersection when clearing an aircraft onto a runway. Recent changes to air traffic control procedures in Canada also require controllers to state from the threshold with a takeoff clearance when more than one entry point is in use. Pilots should use this information in their readback. It gives another opportunity to recognize this type of error and to correct it. In this scenario, proper communications procedures, paying careful attention to call signs, giving full readbacks, questioning ambiguities, and using standard phraseology would have prevented the occurrence. Two aircraft are heading on parallel tracks. An air traffic controller in an area control center is talking to both pilots.
Toronto Center, Cipher 612 at 16,000.
Cipher 612, check.
Toronto, good day. Sentinel 602 at 17,000.
Sentinel 612, fly your present heading, maintain 17,000.
Heading and 17,000. Sentinel 602.
Sentinel 612, roger, maintain, expect the ILS on 23.
ILS on 23, Sentinel 602.
Cipher 612, right turn 360, cleared for 8,000.
Was that for 602?
That's correct, heading 360, maintain 8,000.
360, 8,000, Sentinel 602. 360 on the heading, down to 8,000.
Confirm.
Confirm.
Heading and 8,000.
The controller makes a call sign error, confusing the numbers, which contributes to the Sentinel pilot intercepting a clearance for the other aircraft. The controller compounds the error by not using the call sign in response, and misses the readback because he is busy with other tasks and not attending closely to the readback.
Sentinel 602, just confirm your altitude. Restriction was 17,000. I've now got you through 15.5.
We just clarified with you. You cleared us down to 8,000, heading 360.
Not for Sentinel 602, that was for Cipher 612. Turn left heading 340 now for traffic.
The controller catches his error on the radar and makes the correction, but the error has caused a loss of separation. This incident shows how communication errors can chip away at the layers of defense. Let's review the main factors that contributed to this situation. The controller gave the incorrect call sign with a clearance. The crew of Cipher 612 did not realize another aircraft had taken their clearance. The controller also did not recognize that the wrong aircraft had acknowledged the clearance, and he did not use the aircraft's call sign in his response. This would have provided an opportunity to catch this error. A final chance to catch the error was also missed as the controller, busy with other tasks, did not notice the incorrect call sign during the readback. The errors which contributed directly to the occurrence, not using call signs, was just one example of non-standard phraseology used by the pilots and the controller. As you can see here, when standards become relaxed, the potential for errors and serious consequences is dramatically increased. The flight service specialist is requesting IFR clearance for Tech Air 402. The aircraft has just filed a flight plan to its destination airport via airway Alpha 18 at 4,000 feet.
North Low Tech Air 402 is requesting IFR clearance.
ATC clears Tech Air 402, Alpha 18, flight plan route, climb to and maintain 4,000. Standby 1. Maintain 4,000, squawk code 0041.
In the same area, there is a diverging airway with a similar route number. This is what the FSS thinks he hears, and he relays this route number to the pilot of the aircraft.
ATC clears Tech Air 402 to Beauville Airport, Alpha 1, flight plan route. Climb and maintain 4,000 feet, squawk code 0041.
Tech Air continued its flight on the incorrect route, Alpha 1, until it was noticed after a radar handoff to the terminal controller. The terminal controller confirmed that the route should have been Alpha 18 and corrected the situation. Fortunately, there was no conflicting traffic on Alpha 1. There are some key factors that contributed to this situation. The pilot did not question the apparent change in route. Although unusual, he had in the past occasionally received changes to filed routes. The controller, who was very busy at the time, did not detect the incorrect readback from the flight service specialist. There are two lessons here. First, don't accept what you don't expect. If something seems unusual, ask, double-check, and confirm. And second, multitasking can cause mistakes. Make sure you are focused on one task at a time. Greenjet 263 is at top of descent. The crew is busy preparing for arrival.
Greenjet 263, descend and maintain flight level 220.
Down to 220, Greenjet 263.
He said 200, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain. That's usually what we get there.
Although the crew read back the altitude correctly, the crew are not 100% certain. They enter the altitude they usually receive at this point in the flight.
Greenjet 263, you were cleared to flight level 220. Maintain flight level 220.
Climb flight level 220, Greenjet 263. Sorry about that.
This altitude bust could have been prevented. Although the crew read back the correct altitude, they were busy at the time and became uncertain about the clearance. They questioned one another, but did not go back to the controller for clarification. Asking questions in the cockpit is a sure sign that clarification is needed. Once again, if in doubt, ask, double-check, and confirm. These situations and others like them happen all too frequently in our airspace. Usually, it is for one of two reasons. Either those involved do not see the need to follow procedures exactly, or they think they have a good reason not to. For example, they may think, there are only a few aircraft on the frequency, why use my call sign? Or the frequency is congested, I can shorten my transmission by eliminating the call sign. Most of the time there are no consequences, so these poor communication habits are reinforced. It becomes more likely to happen again and again, weakening the defenses built into the system. The practice of poor communications continues until the time when a communications error and a weakened line of defense become a deadly combination, resulting in a serious incident or accident. Standard phraseology and communications procedures were designed for a purpose. They are the cornerstones of a safe air navigation system. We should never miss an opportunity to reinforce the need for effective communications and create awareness about the risks involved whenever non-standard communication is used. Canada's aviation partners, including airlines, government, NAV Canada, unions, and industry associations, have formed a working group to do just that. Their objective is to encourage a culture where effective communications is a priority for all. Their efforts are focused on improving quality assurance and standardization in training and licensing standards, raising awareness of risks and each person's role in reducing errors, increasing data sharing, and capitalizing on technology and procedures. In the end, improving safety through effective communications is everyone's responsibility. Here is what you can do to help create a culture of effective communications. First, examine your communication practices. Are you using standard phraseology? Are you providing full readbacks, including call signs? Next, encourage others to employ good communication practices. What are the standards of communication in your environment? Are communications considered during checks and training? What can you do to encourage your team members to monitor each other for non-standard communications? Remember, if in doubt, ask. Minimize distractions while communicating. Challenge poor communication from others. Practice proper communication procedures. Read back fully. Identify ambiguities. Don't accept what you don't expect. Pay attention to similar call signs. Know and use standard phraseology. Speak up if you detect an error involving another aircraft. Ask for confirmation if you are unsure. These are easy and effective solutions, and they work. In the fast-paced and challenging environment of aviation, these simple actions can make a world of difference and make our skies safer.